Material management is a very important function in SAP module which handles material or external service procurement process. Other than that, this module also included inventory management and vendors invoice verification for the entire organization. The SAP MM implementation makes sure the inventory is enough and result in cost-effective for the procurement process and business flow of material management. Material requirements are identified either in the user department or via material planning and control. Purchase requisition can be entered manually or they can be generated automatically by the material planning and control system. Purchase requisition is an internal document that requests to procure certain list of material. First, the organization have to gather all the requirements in order to perform procurement. Once requirements are included in purchase requisition, they are sent to purchasing department to procure specific material in specific time from vendors. When the requisition has been assigned to a vendor, it will be ready for processing. There are several ways that a vendor can be selected. First, choosing from internal sourcing. It is possible that a plant within your firm could represent a potential source of supply for the material needed. Second, choosing a vendor for the source of supply from source list. There are 3 ways to make decision. If the list contains of sole source, the system will assign the vendor to the requisition. If several options exist, the system will display a list of vendors for you to choose from. If no source has been established, the system will revert to search information records and outline agreements. Third, through a long-term purchasing agreement, and also known as outline agreement. Outline agreement is a long-term purchasing agreement with vendor containing terms and conditions regarding the material that is supplied by vendor. It varies up to a certain period of time and covers a certain predefined quantity or value. These agreements are subdivided into contract and scheduling agreements. Contract is a long-term outline agreement between vendor and ordering party over predefined material or services over a certain framework of time. There are 2 types of contract. Quantity contract. In this type of contract, overall value is specified in terms of total quantities of material to be supplied by vendor. Value contract. In this type of contract, overall value is specified in terms of total amount to be paid for that material to the vendor. Scheduling agreements. Scheduling agreement is a long-term outline agreement between vendor and ordering party over a predefined material or service which are produced on predetermined dates over a framework of time. The last one, request for quotation. If nothing that will satisfy the purchase requisition exists in the system, the organization will have to request for a quotation from vendors. This is known as an RFQ. An RFQ is an invitation to a vendor by purchasing organization to submit a bid for the supply of material or services. Vendor selection and comparison of quotation. The system is capable of simulating pricing scenarios, allowing an organization to compare a number of different quotations and make a scoring on each of them to determine the weight factors. Rejection letter can be sent automatically. Once the quotation is accepted, the purchase order will be sent to the vendor to request for the specified product or service. The purchase system adopts information from the requisition and the quotation to help create the purchase order. As with purchase requisition, you can generate purchase order yourself or have the system generate them automatically. Once the purchase order has been made, here's are the processes will be carried out. First, notify vendor. The vendor will get notified for purchase order by email, fax, XML, EDI, or in printer form. Second, vendor shipment. Once the vendor receives the purchase order, they will start preparing the requested product and ship it to the buyer. Third, goods receipt. The buyer will receive the good receipt, which indicate the ownership of the product has been changed to the buyer from the vendor. Next, invoice receipt. When receiving the product, the buyer will have to check the product based on the invoice and then update the purchase order history with receipt. Inventory and GR account will be updated as well. The buyer will use the invoice received as reference against the purchase order to verify the content and price received. Once verified, purchase order and material master will be updated and accounting document created. Last, payment to vendor. The buyer can then make the payment to the vendor and then transaction will be recorded into the financial document.
Created using Powtoon.